Coach Ashraf, thank you very much for your time and congratulations on your 2-0 win. How did you view the game?
I think it was a good open game. I think got two footballing teams. Sundowns, well, M Tigers, very good footballing team. Likewise with us from Lamasha, we love playing to put the ball on the ground. I think we scored two very good goals for the first 10-15 minutes, and I think that kind of set the thing for the rest of the game. There were patches and scenarios we could have done it better, but I think it was a good game all after all, and I think we deserved the victory.
Okay, like you say, Coach, you played in patches. The game was mostly straight-y, but you defended well as well. What are you going to do about that? Because I'm sure you'll want to maintain a high tempo throughout the game and attack and create chances, which you were unable to do today.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to change that?
Definitely, I think the most important part is to keep the ball moving. I think that's our strength. I mean, you can see if we're a team that plays football, and it's very hard for us to knock those long passes, and it doesn't happen. So we want to be a team that plays football, and I think we stick to what we know, especially in the final third. We've got to make better decisions in the final third. And I think defensively, I think I'm proud of the boys. Like I always tell them, defense wins games. And if you want to be very well a good team, those kind of teams, those kind of scenarios will win you games. So I just think one good thing is that we work on is going forward. I think definitely in the final third, the final pass, the final decision, I think if we work on those things, I think we've got a very good opportunity this year.
Brendan was very vital in your defense. He commanded the defense when the Tigers were coming at you. Is that what you plan for around him in terms of your defense?
I mean, he gives us a lot more. Besides the fact that he wins tackles and things like that, he commands the defense very well. But demanding the defense, helping the midfield as well, and all those things come into play as a player. I mean, with his experience, he's been in the game long enough to understand what's right and what's wrong. And with the young players around him, it kind of brings them forward, and it kind of pushes us, gives us a certain stability at the back, which is very good for us as well.
We can't end this interview without talking about Stingo. Fantastic goal. You hardly see goalkeepers scoring, and most of the time when they score is when they go up to head a corner.
Yeah.
But he scored from just outside his area. The awareness to see that the other goalkeeper is out of line, and the way he launches some of your attacks.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And you plan that around him as well?
100%. I think he gives us something very different. I think I've yet to see a goalkeeper in South Africa that can produce what he produces. I mean, he can find a player anywhere in the pitch, he can knock a ball anywhere on the pitch, and he has a technique that I've yet to see, like I've told you earlier on. Those things, you see those goals, and we see the training. That's why we're not that surprised. But I think the only surprise factor actually happened in the game. But he's got abilities. I think he's definitely a keeper that can definitely go much more further. I think he deserves to be up there, and if not interviewing up PSL. That's my honest opinion.
Many have said his height is perhaps a hindrance, but there was Senzo Meyiwa, may he so rest in peace. There was Campos in Mexico.
100%.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm 100% for that, and I totally disagree on that. I think if you're good, you're good. That's one thing I've always said that for any player. It doesn't matter, for example, you come in here, say you're 16 years old. Doesn't really matter. You're young, you're good, you play. That's simple as that. And for him particularly as a goalkeeper, I think he deserves it. He deserves everything that comes his way. I mean, he works hard. He has the ability. He shows it. And I think with time, I'll be honest with you, I think he should be up there amongst the best because he has it, no one else has us. And I've yet to see, like I said, in the PSL, anyone can do what he does. And he definitely gives you the dynamics of different scenarios. For example, if you're under pressure, you can ping your ball out of a scenario, but you put you more on the counter than actually under pressure. So all this is coming to play. So he's definitely one, for my honest opinion, to be playing in the PSL, or if not in the AFT.
Coach, thank you very much for your time and good luck in your next game.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
Coach Sapula, thank you very much for your time. Your boys just went down to La Masia 2-0. How did you see the game?
I think it was a game of two halves. I think La Masia scored two brilliant goals. I think the first one, but it was a mistake from our players, giving away possession in a critical area there. They picked the ball up, good strike from that striker. And I think the second goal, brilliant goal from the keeper, from the opposition keeper. But I think maybe even our keeper could have maybe reacted to get a touch. But I think we have to give credit where it's due. I think it was good awareness to see our keeper have moved out of his line, and it was a brilliant strike. So we give credit to that. But however, I think we did not really exert ourselves properly, especially in the first half. After our halftime talk, you could see second half there was just one team on the field. I mean, we had all the possession, we created chances. You could see it, we played with high intensity, with more purpose, we were probing. And it looked like at some stage we could get something. We really at least deserve to get something, especially with the performance second half. But however, we have only unders in our team. We have your 18, 19, 20-year-olds that we're developing. And I think with the performance second half, it gives us hope that we can build from that. You know, it's a lesson to them to say you can't only pitch to play first half, the second half only. You gotta start playing from the first minute, play the entire 90 minutes. I think it was a good lesson for our boys here today. But I think balance of play, maybe we deserve a little bit from the game. I think a 2-0 is not a true reflection of the game. The scoreline is not a true reflection. We deserve a little bit from the game today.
Like you said, in the second half, there was only one team. You had the possession, you created chances. But the chances that you created, you were unable to take them. You were unable to hit the target more. How are you going to rectify that going forward?
I think also it's a psychological problem. You know, when you have youngsters and the team is not doing well, you know, when they get an opportunity, it's either they do the opposite. When he needs to compose himself, he rushes. When he needs to take it quick, he takes a little more, an extra touch and all that. It's just a lack in confidence. It's a psychological issue, because if you think about it, we're dealing with youngsters and they're not exposed to this type of pressure. I mean, this league is very demanding. And I think up until we put ourselves in a space where we can get a result, we play well, then you start seeing the best out of these players. You start seeing the players taking proper decisions in front of goals, you know. But with this pressure and the team is not doing well and we are trailing, it takes a lot out of the players, especially psychologically. I don't think it's an issue of players lacking in decision making. I think it's just a psychological battle that we're having at this moment, because we also lost the last 2 games. We're struggling to score, you know. So when we get an opportunity, you can see the players are tight, you know. You can see that it's an issue of, hey, am I going to score or not? You know, we're not playing freely in front of goals. And up until we find ourselves in a space where we're playing well, we break that hoodoo, scoring, winning 2 games, then all of a sudden you start seeing players playing with more confidence, taking proper decisions in front of goals. But up until then, it's work in progress. We keep trying to push with our players, but also not discarding the fact that we still need to work on our finishing. You know, I'm not saying it's not a lack of finishing or decision making. Maybe it could be that, but I think it's more on the psychological part.
Coach, like you said, this was actually your 3rd loss in a row. The confidence on the players' side is low, and you've got a lot of new players who still need to adapt. But unfortunately, like you said, this league is very demanding. There's no time to adapt here. Teams are gunning for points, gunning for promotion. So the recovery has to be very, very quick. What do you plan to do in the next week to ensure that in your next game, at least you start to pick up points?
It's difficult what we want to do, but what are you going to do come next game? But because I'm happy with the work at training, you know, the response, we're trying to build the cohesion, the understanding, because it's new players. When you bring new players coming together and to play in this league for the first time, playing together, and it's young players, it's going to be difficult. You're going to have all these challenges, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm interested with this job. So I have to find solutions. At the end of the day, we know we have to hit the ground running. There's no time to say, okay, we're going to wait for game 8, game 9 for us to peak. I mean, by then you'd find yourself in a relegation zone, you know. But what I want to say is just to continue with the work at training, and more than working in fixing things technically, I think it's just to bring the team spirit, you know, just to psych up the players, you know, because I think we're lacking more in that regard more than anything. And I think in a week where you find yourself having your 3rd loss, I think what I'm thinking about now is more your team building exercises, you know, more things like that players will forget about the result, find a space to feel good. Those are things we want to try, because if you want to put more stress on the players, on tactics and other, it becomes too much on players, especially young players, So I want to have a week where we just relax a little bit, withdraw from the players a little bit, focus on more your team building exercises and all that, just to make the players believe in themselves more, hoping we'll get the results, because the work is there. It's not that we are not working. We know we didn't have any preseason, not that it's an excuse. But at the end of the day, there's no way you can make up for the lack of your preseason in 2 or 3 weeks. It's just impossible. You'll start gaining that game by game or week by week. But otherwise, what you do now is to try and bring the team more together, create the cohesion, create team building, I think that way, I feel that it's the best way to go, just to switch off a little bit, because once you keep focusing on telling the players you are losing, then it becomes a build-up to the players to say psychologically now, whatever they're thinking, it's about the results, the loss, and they start losing more confidence in their ability, So I don't want to focus on that at the moment, I want to put them in a space where they still they feel good, so that they come out maybe feeling different in the next game. Possibly that can help in us getting the result.
Coach, thank you very much for your time and good luck in your next game.
You're most welcome, my brother.
Thank you.